Everyone, welcome to the show. I have updates to share about Donald Trump's coup clowns, mostly America's defendants, so Rudy Giuliani, as you all know. So I'm going to start off with something you have to see to believe. Just enjoy.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! What would you like for Christmas, darling?
Rudy coffee.
Not diamonds, not a necklace?
No,
Give
just
her all
Rudy
the coffee
coffee
she wants! Give her all the coffee she wants! Ho, ho, ho!
You are welcome. You're welcome. I'm giving that all to you as a New Year's present for the upcoming New Year. Ah, how the mighty have fallen. The man who was once prosecuting the mob, the man who was once considered to be America's mayor, is so destitute, he's dressing up like Santa and hawking coffee. And he has no one to blame but himself. Well, Donald Trump as well, but he fell for it. I also have juicy details to share about the real reason his two attorneys ditched him. So what I'm referring to, in case you did not know, there's the $148 million defamation settlement case with election workers Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. And I mentioned a while back that his attorneys in that case, Kenneth Caruso and David Labkowski, they withdrew from the case in November, and they didn't even tell him first. They just filed something with the court and were like, peace out, we're done. So at the time it was reported, basically they just said, or the court let it out that they had a quote unquote fundamental disagreement with Giuliani. The court, though, had redacted the majority of the withdrawal filing, so we didn't know anything more than that. Well, the judge just released the unredacted version of the document, and it's basically everything we imagined. Caruso and Lepkowski told the court, quote, "Defendant has informed us that he will not participate in electronic discovery in the Homestead action. Specifically, he has informed us that he will not identify or provide access to his electronic devices for imaging by an electronics discovery vendor, which we have identified. We have a fundamental disagreement with that position. Defendant's position also constitutes a failure to cooperate with us in the representation and renders it unreasonably difficult for us to carry out our employment effectively." So what they're saying is the homestead refers to his Florida property. There's this big brouhaha going on about whether or not Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss can take possession of his Florida property to help pay off the $148 million that he owes them. Rudy Giuliani is saying, you can't take it because that's my primary residence, so I have a quote-unquote homestead, so that property is not available to them. They are saying, BS, he does not live there, that is not his main property, we have every right to take it. So that's going to be adjudicated in January. I think the middle of the month, there's a hearing on that issue. But in the meantime, he was supposed to turn over discovery items, meaning evidence showing why he should be able to hold on to that property or why he's not entitled to claim it as his primary property and primary home. So he is refusing, just like he's done in every other instance, to turn over any discovery items. And his attorneys are like, we can't abide by this. Like, he's not following the law. He's not following the court orders. He's making it impossible for us to do our job. So once again, he has only himself to blame for these details becoming public and now, everybody knowing that he's full of it, because Giuliani started accusing his former attorneys of giving him bad legal advice. As you guys all know, he is facing a possible contempt charge for failing to comply with the court's orders in this case. He has failed to, meet the deadlines to turn over discovery items, all kinds of stuff. He's just been playing all kinds of games. Well, as is typical with Giuliani, he decided to blame somebody else for his shady behavior. So in this case, he's blaming two people. He's blaming his former counsel. So the judge basically said, okay, if you're going to basically waive your rights to attorney-client privilege by giving this information out, by publicly sharing what you see, how you see the situation, then I may as well release the unredacted details. So the judge wrote in his order, quote, "In fairness, the court cannot allow defendant to convey a story to the court and to the public that prior counsel is responsible for his discovery violations while shielding the evidence that, if true, would expose that story as a fabrication. Defendant has waived the privilege with respect to his communication with prior counsel regarding document production, information requests, interrogatories, or the deposition requests." The judge also indicated that Giuliani's false statements will be used against him in determining whether or not he should be held in contempt. Judge Lyman stated, quote, "The court has a motion for contempt before it and two diametrically opposed sets of declarations. One declaration proffers what purports to be an innocent explanation for the discovery failures in this case, at least up until the time the motion to withdraw was granted. The second set of declarations can be read to suggest that the explanation is false, that the defendant has knowingly, willfully, and contrary to advice of prior counsel, violated the court's orders, and that his current declaration and submission continue to be untrue." So Giuliani is now panicking. On Christmas Eve, his new attorney filed multiple documents with the court, one of which falsely claims that Giuliani, quote, "did not knowingly and or intentionally and or willingly violate or disobey court orders." In another filing, which Giuliani drafted himself, he told the court, quote, "I respectfully submit that the items which I was required to turn over, I turned over. The court should see that I gave everything that I could give." So, as you all know, that statement is laughable. I mean, first of all, he didn't turn over discovery items. He has fought everyone tooth and nail. And then the physical items, like the actual, his property that he was supposed to turn over to Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, vanished. And we later found out it was because he went in and pulled almost every one of his belongings out of his New York apartment before he had to hand over the keys to them. And he put all of that stuff in a storage facility. Then he claimed, "I can't access any of it. I don't have access to that property anymore. I'm being locked out of that facility." Then we come to find out he's actually a co-owner of that storage facility. So he is just so completely full of it. So we will see what the judge decides. And we're going to know very soon because the contempt hearing is this week. It's at the end of this week. So I will keep you posted on that. And then around the middle of the month, like I had mentioned, they're going to decide if he's going to get to hold on to that Florida condo or if he has to turn it over as well. So it's going to be an interesting month for America's defendant. I will keep you posted on all of that. I also have a quick update about the Arizona fake electors case. So back in April and May of 2024, unbeknownst to all of us, Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays had issued search warrants for Google, Twitter, and Apple iCloud information. So this is data for the 18 Trump allies that have been indicted for their part in the alleged attempted coup. The data that they requested was for the 3-month period of time between November 1st of 2020 and February 1st of 2021. So Attorney General Mays has had this information for a while now, but her team hasn't been able to review it yet because the court ordered that the defendants would be allowed to review it first and they can remove irrelevant information. Now, who's going to make sure that they, are being honest about that? I'm not I'm not sure. But anyway, Trump's final chief of staff, Mark Meadows, he's one of the defendants in this case. So he tried to block the search warrants. It kind of backfired on him, though, because in the prosecutor's response saying why it shouldn't be blocked, they provided this little detail. Quote, Meadows had confided in a staff member in early November 2020 that Trump had lost the election. Nevertheless, Trump wanted to keep fighting the election results, and Meadows wanted to help Trump. So they all knew. They all knew that Trump lost. They allowed his lies to completely infect the country, and that ultimately led to the attempted insurrection at the Capitol and so much heartache, people in prison. I mean, an untold amount of devastation from that lie, from Donald Trump's election fraud fairy tale. And they went along with it knowing that it was false. So anyway, we'll see what happens with all of this. I will let you know. Happy New Year to all of you. Have a safe night. Have a great New Year ahead. And please like this video. Please share it. Please subscribe if you have not. Donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.